Morning everyone, or afternoon, or evening, depending on when this is being watched, obviously. You join me back on the van. We're making some progress today. Had a few deliveries come through. I've got this bit that I've been waiting for a long time. Just trying to find a good one, so we'll be popping that in. I've got these, and that's the rear shackle kit for the back as well. So yeah, we're gonna get that on. It's a little bit ahead of schedule. Realised that we had a cracked spring on the front, so it sort of had to be done now rather than do the suspension twice. So I'm just going to crack on, get them on, and then I'm going to give the van a nice wash. Now, fitting coilovers to any vehicle isn't difficult. It's all the same sort of principle. So you've got your strut tower just there. Obviously it'll be located in different places. That's normally held in with 2 or 3 bolts. So that's 1, 2, 3. Same on the other side. So you need to undo those. You've got your strut, and then this is held in usually by a pinch bolt, which is just there. So you need to undo that. That will loosen this clamp, and then this part will be able to lift out the top, and you'll be able to take this strut out. If you've got drop links, you'll have to undo the drop links. So that's just there. So we'll undo that as well. But it's pretty much the same on every vehicle. I've done this 1,000 times, so it shouldn't be too difficult. However, every other bolt on this van were rusted solid, so I think those probably will be as well. So I'll give everything a really good squirt WD-40 first before we start, and then we'll get both sets of fronts off, and we will remove the top mounts. So we're going to need to reuse the top mounts for these, because these don't come with top mounts, they're just the spring. You reuse your top mounts. You can get adjustable top mounts to adjust the camber, things like that, but these are pretty sort of they're not going to be, it's not going to be needed around a track. You know, they're pretty good street coilovers. The van's only going to get used for sort of daily driving around the streets. These have got really good reviews. I've used them before on an Audi TT, so I've used this brand before. You know, I couldn't fault them when I used them before. There are other cheap models out there. These are about £300 with the rear shackle kit. And there should be front and rear dampers in here. Sorry, there's rear dampers. You've got the front coilover, which is the spring and the damper, and then you've got the shackle kit, and then that's the full lot for the van. Like I say, you can pay a lot more depending on what you're doing, but for my use, for what I need this van for, and obviously trying to keep the budget as low as possible, these are what I'm going to go for. And you know, I know them, and I know that they work, and I know that they do the job. I'm also going to be using this today. I'm going to give it a little go. I'll do a proper review video on it, but it's a Balco 4K action camera. It's from Audi. It's about 50 quid, so looks apart, reviews look alright, so we're going to give it a go. Doesn't come with a memory card or anything like that, but I've got the it's 128 gig. I've already got 128 gig memory card, so I'm going to get this charged up, have a look inside it, try and get it to work today, and I'll do a nice little review video on it afterwards.
24 hours later.
On today's episode of World Rustiest Van, I have almost got the front right strut off. So there's some of it. Springs over there. The top mount is still bolted in. Now these 3 bolts are so badly rusted and seized. Let me get a light on. That they've become part of the little nut on the back. Now, no matter how much WD-40 I sprayed on those, how careful I was, they've all sheared off. Only 2 on this side, we're not quite as far along. I've got 2 out on this side, but 1 still there, same problem. So I'm going to have to undo the shock absorber at the top while the spring's under compression, let that drop out, and then I can get out of those bolts. So I'm going to try and get some mole grips under the bottom of there and then do it by hand. If I can't do that, then I'm going to have to get the grinder out and chop them off. Okay, I've come inside because it's too dark outside to film anything. I just wanted to give you a closer look at what we've been working with. So this is a brand new top mount. This is how they come, 2 pieces. That sits in there like that. And that's on a little bearing. So that sits on your strut, and that goes into bolts into the top of your strut tower. So that's what it's supposed to look like. This is what I've been dealing with. So there's one. So the middle bits of that's fell out already. If you take a look at these bolt holes, that's what I've had to do to these to get them out. So I've had to cut notch after notch after notch, and that's allowed me to sort of free up the bolt inside, and then eventually I was able to get this bolt out. I was able to just unscrew it from the top. Same on that side. This one did come out, so it came out of this hole. On the other one, this one gave me a lot of trouble, so I ended up just cutting it straight off, and then I basically ground the bolt down till there was nothing left, and then it was able to drop out the top. So a lot of hard work, really awkward space to get it in, to get the grinder up in the top, but we got them out eventually. I just want to show you these as well. So this is the pinch bolt. Look at the state of that. Oh, how well the camera's picking that up. So it's just absolutely made of rust. There's nothing left. So the threads just been completely eaten up by the rust. It's the same on both sides. So I've ordered 2 new ones of these. They should be here tomorrow. And we'll get the coilovers on. Unfortunately, probably not until Saturday because I've got to work away for a couple of days. So this video will be out a little bit later than I'd wanted it to be, but unfortunately it's just taken a week to get all the bits together and get these off finally. But look at the heads there, there's hardly anything there as well. They're completely stripped off. What I'll do now is I'm going to build up the new suspension struts. I'll get them out of the box, do a little unboxing, show you what they look like, and build them up. Nice looking box. Again, like I say, I've used these before on a different vehicle. I was happy with the quality of them. Sort of know what I'm going to expect. Little, that's a ring spanner. That's obviously for adjusting the coilovers. I've got a couple of these, but it's nice to have they're all folding ones, so it's nice to have a solid piece, a little bit stronger. So nice. Got the rear dampers. 2 of those. So they're for the rears. This will go with the shackle kit. I'm not going to get that out of the box now. I'll do that at the weekend when I fit it. But nice set of rears. Nice quality powder coated black. It'd be nice if there was more colour options, I suppose, but that's what you pay for. If you go a bit more expensive, you'll get some reds or yellows or whatever. Black and purple, quite a nice colour combo. I quite like it. You know, they're good quality, I think. I like them anyway. They're doing well. They've been around for a while now. They sell well as well. You've got a nice thick weld on there. It's not going to snap off. It's not going to break. That's for the anti-roll bar linkage. The threads are always nice. Just, you know, run smoothly. I've never had one go on me, so I've never had a shock fail on me for the time I've used them. But you know, it is what it is. These are 50mm, and Volkswagen Caddies are actually 55mm. So what they do is they send you out the 50mm. So this is a pretty generic Audi Volkswagen front strut shock, and they send you a 5mm shim. So that's 6 on the top. It's pretty well sealed on there. I'm not going to try and pop it off because it's supposed to be there. But that sits on the bottom. That'll drop in your hood, and that'll fit in your hood properly. You do have to use your own top mounts, like I said. Mine are obviously knackered, so that's why I bought some new ones. I'm just going to pop that on now. So what you do, take your top bolt off, obviously. Top mount sits like that. So that bit sits in that top spring, and that bit sits on there. It sits in. What I'll do is I'm going to get the spring compressors out. I'm going to compress this spring down a little bit so I'm able to get the top mount on. These are dirt cheap. These were 15 quid, I think. I've even actually chopped these ones down because the thread was out here, and if you're doing tight work, you know, you can't actually use it. But these are like 15 quid off Amazon. You get bigger ones, you get better ones. When I've got my garage sorted out, I will be having a proper sort of floor standing one that you drop the shock into. But these have always done me. You can store them easily, and they do the job. Quite simple to use. Wind that out as far as it will go. Because of the way that this spring's shaped, it is quite difficult to get the shock on. Sorry, the spring compressor on. What I'm going to do, I shall wind this down all the way to the bottom, and that'll allow the spring to drop down. Sort of drop that on there, like so. It's on there like that, and then you put your bolt back on. Make sure that's sitting in there nicely. Yeah, that's that. Drop that back on there. Like that. I'm going to raise this up just so that the spring's got some tension in it. Probably leave it like that. Now in the top of there, move this down again. Okay. Now in the top of there, you've got what's either a 6 or a 7, depends, the standard stock ones, or what were on the van before. They might have been replacements. For me, they were a 7mm Allen key, and this is normally a 21mm nut. I think this is a 6mm Allen key, but let's find out. So yeah, it's a 6 in there. Ah, that's a 20, not a 21, that's a 22 as well. So what you need to do, you need to get yourself a socket like this with a hex on the top of it, and that'll allow you to drop the socket on. You put your 6mm Allen key through the centre to hold the shock in the centre. You drop that on the top, and then using a spanner, depending on what size it is, you will then tighten that socket up like so. The Allen key will be out through there, so you have to hold the Allen key. You tighten your socket up, and that will tighten this bolt, holding the centre bolt, locking it down. It's quite simple. You can use an air gun. you've got access to pneumatic tools or a high torque impact, you should be able to just blast that nut down, but you won't be able to torque it up to the right spec, so you're better to do it by hand, just using socket, Allen key and a spanner. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll put this back on the van. So there's the old versus the new. This should be a lot quicker and simpler to put it back in again. All I'm going to do, we're going to take the top part up into the wheel arch, and we're going to bolt it into the 3 holes at the top there just loosely, and then we're going to drop it down into there, and we're going to jack the wheel up so that it sort of sits in nice and tight, and then tighten up the pinch bolt at the back. We're going to tighten up the 3 bolts at the bottom there that connect this to the wishbone. We'll put the control arm back on, and we'll put the anti-roll bar back on, and then we'll do the same on the other side, and that's the front done. Okay, top bit's on. So I'm just going to position this in that hole. I'm going to use a jack to jack this wheel up so that sits in there, and then I'm going to do everything up nice and tight. Sitting all the way in there. You can tell that by the fact that a little bit of it is sticking out from the bottom. Take the spreader out. That should stay in there now, that shouldn't slide out. So that's sitting in there. This is held together with just the friction at the minute. But when this pinch bolt's done up tight, that'll obviously keep that in there without moving it at all. Anti-roll bar, bring that right around there. That will sit through that hole just there. Put the steering arm back on. That sits in there. Bolt on the back. And then we've got 3 bolts underneath there, and we'll tighten them up, and then that's the passenger side fixed. Obviously do those 3 back up with the top tight, and that's that side done. Now the steering arm bolt is held in with a nut, but to stop the ball joint from spinning, it's got a Torx sort of indent in the bottom of it. So you put the Torx bit into the bottom of the bolt, and that will stop the ball joint from spinning while you're trying to do the nut up. The same sort of bolt as the steering arm bolt, but it's actually a spline bit, so it's like a multi-spline bit rather than a Torx bit. on this side there's a little bit more work to be done, so I'm having to change the trap rod end or tie rod end on this side. When I was extracting this, the hex bit, sorry, the Torx bit that goes on the inside of the bolt, like I mentioned on the other side, was completely rounded and unusable. So to get this off, I got the grinder, chopped the bottom of the bolt off, lifted it out. I've ordered another one. That's my replacement. Got a replacement. So just whipping this off, putting this back on again. These are quite simple to do. They can be a bit stiff, so make sure you lube them up really well. This is a 16mm hex on the shaft. So you get a 16mm spanner on there. You won't need that straight away. This is a 24mm nut. So crack that nut off. So that's a clockwise turn to loosen it off, and that will free up this bit. And then this is a anti-clockwise all the way off. Turn your new one on clockwise and then lock that nut down. Obviously remember where this went. If you can mark it with a pen, or just remember the amount of turns that you needed to put it on, is always a good thing. You will need to get your alignment reset after doing this, because it will never be spot on, or in very rare cases it will be spot on, but it's quite simple. Taking this off, just hold it with a spanner. So hold this shaft with a spanner. It's got like a little hex shape on it, and that will let you undo this. Right, both sides are all on. We're in at the bottom, we're in at the top. Anti-roll bars are on, and I've got the new trap rod end on there as well. Pinch bolts back in. I'll show you a little before and after. I'll show you a little before and after of that bolt on the screen right now. They weren't reusable at all. They were completely had it. So brand new ones just arrived this morning in time, and all that's left is put the wheels on. I've been fighting the rain a little bit this morning, so I'm going to go back inside, clean the tools up, and then the next video we're going to start on the rears. If you've enjoyed watching, if you've learnt something, please give the video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. It helps me out. I'm just trying to get to that sort of magic number, 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, if you could hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that. Please comment, you know, if you've got any ideas, anything you want to ask. You know, I'm always active. I'll reply straight back. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video where we'll tackle the rears.